of your current existing blog. We don't remember that video. I don't remember whether I show it
You
or
do,
not.
yeah. No, you get into some good stuff on here. This is let me just, the link I've just shared with everybody is a bolt-on silo conversation, I think with Sue Bell and Matt Cruz. It's in here. It's an hour and 22 minutes, so you might want to speed through it or use a speed up software or go through it slowly. To answer your guys' question simply, you can't really install video silo plugin, especially the legacy version. I can't answer that for the new one, but you can't really use your old content and silo your own content without some fancy footwork, okay? So if you're a beginner and intermediate, don't be trying to do that. We don't automatically silo your stuff for you because it would change the database and the rankings and everything. But here's some alternatives here, and I think you'll probably pick up a lot of really good ideas in this lecture. This is actually a lecture that was bootlegged out of a members only paid webinar. So I'm just giving that to you guys now. It is indexed in the search engines, but it's kind of a nice little kept secret. So just put that out there for you guys to look at. Okay. There's a few other things that you can do, but I won't get into that here because I just want to talk to Sue before I start dropping different ideas about what you guys can do. So this is what our standard response is for now. Octavio is saying these questions have been answered already. He's asking, are you asking or telling me that they've been answered, Octavio? Okay, here's the thing. Octavio, we do go through, this was asked on wow, that is a long time ago. No, that was our last.
That was 2 weeks ago. So last week we didn't go through the
Yeah,
questions.
we didn't go through enough questions. So we're actually backing up a little bit, so we're behind. Yeah, we haven't finished. We never, what happened, Octavio, last week is that we actually spent a lot of time on like 2 or 3 people. Don is also asking here, do you silo just a money site, a PBN, or both? I know Sue likes to respond to this one, so I'll get out of the way on that one.
I silo everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if you have an existing PBN that's got a few articles on it, I'll do a bolt-on silo on the side just to help it rank better.
Yeah, she is a silo mentalist.
Yeah, a fundamentalist.
Fun mentalist.
Exactly.
Okay, so yeah, David Key, you've been hinting at that thing for a while. Here's the thing, is there's been a transition period, and yes, I really recommend that you silo as much as you can. Really, you don't have to ask the question anymore when you understand the mechanism, the unique mechanism that is silo architecture. Okay, and the unique mechanism should be very clear. It's that the idea of siloing is that you're stacking articles, that are related. It's a conversation that's about the same thing that your target keyword's about on your silo landing page. So when Google looks at it, they're like, oh, they're having a conversation. This is authentic, right? And then when you add publishing and frequency of publish to that, where you're publishing regular articles on your blog or other things, then what Google sees and search engine sees, like, oh, there's a lot of chatter with these related keywords and unique articles around these related keywords. They must be serious about this conversation. Does that make sense, you guys? I'm just like trying to give you like silos for dummies because that's what I need a lot of the time. Okay, so it's just a conversation, and that conversation doesn't matter if, I realize that most of the time PBNs are not thought about as conversations, and that's the rub. That's what we're actually saying is the problem, is because if it's not a conversation, it's only sitting there to try to substitute itself as authority. Authorities are about conversations. And so if you're not having a real conversation on the website, then ultimately Google's not necessarily going to see that, site, or it's just not going to have the power. If that power is discovered, it's going to be penalized. So that's really just, there's nothing that complicated about siloing. It's just about theming and making sure that the search engines know that you're having a conversation about related words. Does that make sense, you guys? Give me a 1 if that makes sense. Like, it's not, I don't want you to think like it's impossible to understand, like superstitious or magic. It's actually part of the deep root data hierarchy that was Google's original idea when Larry and Sergey sat down at a table and said, hey, I got an idea. How do we determine that this page is more important than this other page? Well, it should be about the same stuff. Oh, okay, that's a great idea. Well, how would you do that? How about PageRank? That'll just tell you what links are linking to what, right? It started out easy, and then it evolved into an advanced version of that. It's just data hierarchy where the relationships are obvious, and they just write their robots to go out and look for those relationships. Does that make sense? That's basically a dumbed down, easy version of what I learned from Sue in 2007 that saved me from a horrible experience of having a client with 18,000 keywords who paid me $30,000 for a contract. Then my partner left me, my business partner, because he thought I was stupid for taking the contract with those 17,000 keywords, and I had to figure out how to rank them and do keyword research on them. Now, Sue told me the other day that my memory was wrong and I wasn't actually crawling under the desk in her office begging for her help. But I seem to remember doing exactly that. If I wasn't, I was doing it metaphorically. Okay, so does that make sense, you guys? PBNs or both? David is saying that a PBN old style is, let me see if I should read. I'm not going to read that. Diplomacy, David. Diplomacy. Okay. The best way to use, oh, by the way, you guys, as my screen, I'm on a big screen TV, a 75-inch screen TV. Can you guys see this frame? Because I've also turned the size of this gloriously entertaining spreadsheet to be really, really big. I think I'm up at 250%.
Color code it next week with Crayola crayons.
I was thinking more of, yeah, I don't know, dancing something.
I see.
I was thinking, you know, like I don't have Jimmy's red arrow, and it's just humiliating because I can't do the hypnotic.
Jimmy's red arrow.
Yeah, I don't have the Jimmy's red arrow thing, and you know, so it's not like Willy Wonka and the laser pointer, you know. Okay. Brad says that he can see clearly. Okay, I will try to break away from the monotony of the spreadsheet over into some real live sites and, you know, things like this, you know, like, because I know wiki pages are way, way exciting compared to a spreadsheet. All right, okay. Brad is saying, a red arrow is a sign that you've made it as an SEO. Or is it? Okay, so the best way to use SE, Social Explosion, and Kraken is to create a subdomain to apply these tools to. That must be a question. It's not, did I say the best way? No, it's not. It's a way that we don't recommend. Oh, this is Kraken. You must mean video Kraken.
Video Kraken, yeah.
Is this strategy the best for a PBN money site or both? Here we go, back on the money site or PBN bandwagon. If you use Social Explosion on subdomain, do you also use it on the main domain?
Here's the kicker. You want to use Video Kraken on your PBN, but not on your money site.
Stephen, you're saying it's not this is not visible on your screen? I really am being serious. You guys need to let me know if you can't see the questions.
I think it's actually a bit big.
Okay, I'm going down. How's that?
That's good.
Okay. See questions, okay, okay. Hello, Tim Edwards. Okay, Sue, wow, how did I do that? I just lost my, oh, right up here. Are we just gonna, should we just skip that question? It's so loaded that I don't even, you answered it?
Yeah.
Okay, do you feel?
Kraken on your money site.
Okay.
It's great on your PBN. You can use Social Explosion anywhere.
Yeah, Social Explosion is anywhere, and Video Kraken. We have a running joke in our private Network Empire Skype groups and other groups. Because I've said it so many times, I just have a copy and paste a notepad on my desk, and it just says, don't put Video Kraken on your money site. So I just copy and paste it whenever those questions come through. Social Explosion can go anywhere. Yeah, Mike, the reason that Sue is muffled is that she's at the Hilton and her headset's not working properly. So she's actually not using her headset, really.
I apologize. I'll sit a little closer to the
That's
screen.
okay. We know you're roughing it. We get it.
It's tough. There are no boys, and there are no bellboys.
George is actually thanking me for making the screen a little bit larger or smaller or one of the two. Who knows? That's okay, George. You're welcome. Okay, so we're going to move on from this one. This is a question. This is the most common question we get, you guys, from the OMG community. Oh, it looks horrible. That red is really, wow. I'm going to put that back. That's just out. Is it recommended for OMGers to take your courses? If so, which courses? Well, we're glad you asked. No, just kidding. Four score and 15. No. Don, I don't know even how to answer that question because we really do get a lot of different kinds of people, even coming out of George O'Brien. I can't read that out loud, but you're probably right. We get a lot of different people with different interests in OMG. So I can tell you guys this. This is coming from my own personal experience. My favorite course of all time as transition, the one that saves me personally the most amount of work in explaining you guys the difference, not the difference, but the transition from PBN to maybe a slightly different way of looking at it. It doesn't necessarily exclude PBNs, but also explains a lot of the questions. It's like if I could answer one or two questions for you so that like 150 of your other questions were immediately evaporating, it would be the traffic hospital course. The reason is that most of what is happening with traffic hospital and maybe certification level 1 is that one, which is swallowyourmarketwhole.com, is part of what's going on is that when you understand the basics behind siloing and you actually understand it's not just a technique or a paint by, kind of just, copycatting, we understand the principles behind how it works, then it saves a lot of your other, it evaporates a lot of your other questions about PBNs. Doesn't necessarily get rid of PBNs. I've got PBNs out there. I use them in particular kinds of ways. You ask questions like, should you silo or not silo a PBN? Okay, and for Sue, she already knows like what siloing is all about, and that question is a part of a larger system. So we really want to teach you guys the principles. And if I were to recommend for beginners, probably if you're on a budget, we do have a $45 or $49 a month membership. That'll at least get you started. Okay, I'm being, just like basics here. That's a good place to start because we do have some introductory philosophy in there. It's not just merely philosophy, it also has software. And so networkempire.basic.com is the least expensive training we have. If you're serious in getting the equivalent of a college training from Sue, Matt DeCruz, and for me, it's definitely in marketing and neuromarketing, what we call how do you connect what you're selling to this keyword extraction process? That's what I teach. It's called the ISDNA process. So Network Empire Basic is one of them. And probably my favorite for backlinking, which is the big cleanup of the way your brain can work. And I know that Greg Morrison has also taken this. It's traffichospital.com. That's my favorite. When you begin to understand what's going on in there and how to recover sites, it gives you a sense of confidence like, oh, how do I say this? Okay, oh, so, one of my PBNs got blown away. And then you look at it and 20 minutes later, you know exactly why. You guys understand what I'm saying? To me, I've seen so many OMG and many other people just transformed by this. And what was transformed is their confidence.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what he's... Yo, brother! Speaking of which, Guns N' Roses? Oh, I can't do Guns N' Roses anymore because Groove Shark got shut down. So now I got to find another audio system. Jimmy Kelly.
I quite like my Amazon Echo.
I know. I guess I go to Toad and Wet Sprocket. Ryan, how do you know Jimmy's favorite bands? Jimmy, you've been
That is my absolute favorite. I have a tattoo of them on my back.
Yeah, Jimmy's a big Sprocket fan. And
Glenn Phillips is the best singer.
Yeah, he loves Glenn Phillips and hopes to play music with him someday.
I would love to meet him one day. That is one of the people on my list.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. All right, welcome to the jungle. Alex is like, do it. No, we got too much going on. So that's the other one. Since I'm on a platform pitch, I might as well finish. The traffic hospital. The other one is anything. If you guys are serious at going to an advanced level, this is all part of the certification level training. You're going to want to put money aside for that. It's a university level commitment. You're going to want to put about 2 months aside to really get involved in our courses in a year if you're going to take our full training and meet us at a live event. But even you might just want to just go into the basic levels of our training as well. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, and thanks for asking. I really appreciate that. Now that Jimmy's here, we can get into madness. Carl, are you here? Just so we know. And if any of you guys want to go live, please let me know because I'm willing to put you on live if these conversations are there. Carl, I don't know if Carl's here today. Let's see. Hey, when you link from one PBN to 10 or 13 different Tumblr blogs, does that leave a footprint? That's a Jimmy question.
Oh, we're going back. Okay, let me see.
Are we back? Am I doing questions that were already answered?
I would say depends on where those Tumblr blogs then link. I don't necessarily worry about, for me, when I'm using a PBN to a Tumblr blog, I'm not concerned about the Tumblr blogs because you can replace them.
Right.
So I'm not worried about that. Usually when I worry about footprints more so is to a money site or something that I've invested money into. Those are the only times that I worry about it.
So Carl might be asking the wrong question here. I guess he was thinking that he might get his PBN indexed or something with tumblers. Is that what he's really saying here, do you think?
Well, I don't think, Tumblr's got quite a high DA. I mean, if you have a penalized PBN, I mean, I have seen cases where one bad PBN link can take out a lot of different stuff.
Yeah,
but,
it really is. Yeah,
that means you got one heck of a toxic PBN.
Yeah, so it's, Carl, really the toxicity of the PBN to the money side is a bigger question, but I appreciate your question. So I think Jimmy's answer, can I paraphrase your answer, see if I understand? What you're saying is that the Tumblr blogs is like the least of your worries.
Yeah, because those, you can go create those or buy them or however you acquire them.
Okay. Then his next question is, hey, guy. I think he meant guys. Hey, guys, when I interlink 50 Tumblr blogs with each other, each Tumblr links to each Tumblr to my website. Does that leave a footprint? Okay, that's... I love Carl's question.
That moves on to the next question.
Carl's going to be our does that leave a footprint guy. There's got to be somebody who's our footprint guy. So what do you think about that one?
Well, that would end up being like a link wheel at that point. Tumblr is a unique case because it ends up being, because they're all different subdomains, it's more like internal linking on the site because of that method. Okay. So, but certainly you don't want to go to this same money site page on that.
Okay.
With that in that case.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. So should we move on to the next question? Paula, if you want to go live, let me know because you got left out with all these questions last week. Thanks for your patience. Let me see. For a Web 2.0 is www.web2.com/exact match keyword. Are you likely to get a penalty for adding the same exact match keyword in the H1 title field, or does it rank better? Also, if you enter it into RSS, he's thinking in terms of RSS generator down the road as well, Jimmy, by this question, if you see your second part of that question.
So, you definitely have to be careful when you start using RSS as a backlinking method. You need to be aware of how your titles are, because then in RSS, those become your backlinks.
Right.
So you definitely don't want to... you want to keep them on higher quality, higher DA type sites. You don't want to start doing that right off the bat. The other thing is, if it's a brand new site, you really want to do other trust building, do more DAS to it and get more trust flowing to that site first before you come into RSS. And does anybody know the reason why for that?
Oh, great. We'll get into it. Unleash it, brother. Unleash it.
Well, because how many links is it when you do an RSS?
Link velocity, right?
Well, you have link velocity, but you also have a lot of links. And what does a lot of links do to a page?
Yeah, it's too much.
The opposite of PR, so it lowers your trust. So when you're working with a brand new site, it's typically better to roll out a DAS or something first to it before you start applying all of the RSS stuff. You want to establish that trust first.
Good. So going right out of the gate and just slamming the crap out of a brand new site that you just bought with RSS is not such a good advice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what is your recommendation? Do you have a yardstick to measure or a general rule of thumb in terms, do you go by domain authority and page authority in terms of when the DAS stack, or when you have some trust already? What's the trust level that you start generally feeling safe to hammer it with one feed?
Usually once I've seen that trust flow get around 20 is when I feel confident enough that I can start rolling out more mass links at that point.
You guys got that? Give me a 1, because that's a huge tip. I keep getting that question come around again and again. Give me a 1, 2 if you do. Give me a 1 if you get it, and a 2 if you get it. Everybody gets it. Good. I like that. Just the way I like it. Don is saying domain authority 20, then RSS? Question mark.
So, okay, so there's a difference here.
Yeah, we better be clear. If you want to take over the screen for diagrams, feel free, Jimmy, if you need to.
Yeah, let me
know.
take this over.
Yeah.
Is Sue still here? Are you doing this solo without me?
No, she's here.
Oh, okay.
I believe that she's roughing it at the Hilton, so I think she's probably she's in a jacuzzi with a bubble bath and eating a 5-star course meal.
Probably has her pool boys with her, I'm
you
sure.
Just know.
There's no pool boys here. We just discussed that.
Then why can't we hear you? That sounds like a bathtub to me. Terrible.
So let's see. What was it? Oh, I remember. Let's see. We're just waiting for it to load.
No worries, we got it.
Turned on my computer. It's got to warm up a little bit. It's a little sluggish. So let's see. So I don't know. We can just go grab any kind of. Do some search phrase here. We can go check like. Yeah, let's check Nashville SEO. So I haven't checked this one in a little while. All right, so take that. Hey, it looks like that domain's for sale.
Oh, thank you. It is not, is it?
Just saying.
You're in a rare mood, I can tell.
Oh, I know. I did. I got a nap in this afternoon, so I'm.
Oh, good.
Pretty good.
Awesome.
So here we go. So one thing I look for when you're looking at your difference here, the citation flow is just the amount of links that you have. So it doesn't matter if it's branded or, this is like your total links going to your site. And then your trust flow, when I talk about trust flow, typically this is what I'm looking at. But at the same time, this usually goes in conjunction with DA. So typically when you check sites that have really high DA, and this is based off of Majestic at this point. So when you go and look, so let's go look at, I don't know, something.
Sure.
Trying to think of some 2.0s. Well, okay. Let's go see what's roaming out here for Weebly. Giveawayradar.weebly.com. We'll go check this guy
out. Sweet.
I'll probably have to log in for this nonsense because they have the...
Did Mike mean to expire this, or do I need to call him?
I would probably call him.
All right, I'm emailing him as we speak.
Maybe not. I don't know.
No, I'll let David know. Sheesh Louise. Darn it.
All right, let's put that in here.
Hate that.
Dang it. So you can see, like, when you start accumulating this trust flow, I don't even remember where I was going with this. My mind lost its train of thought.
That's okay.
But typically, you want these to be at least a 1-to-2 ratio. So, for instance, this is 12 and this is 24. That's usually where you want it to be. So, if you go and you check this against what your DA is, typically they line up. So if we just check the root of this, right, because this is what gives us the power that we have. So the trust flow of Weebly is actually an 83. So when you take this and you can go and compare it to the DA of the site itself, if I pull up this, let me pull up my other browser here. Okay.
So apparently you practice SEO.
So the DA of Weebly is a 96. So
Right.
that's what I'm saying. Like you'll have like a 10 to 20 difference typically when you compare the two metrics. And then when it translates down, you could get you get a little bit of trust flow with the way that we work the domain authority stacking, because really what Google's looking for is, even though we're getting a link from a page, where the heck is the other button? Okay. Man, I'm way off. Where'd it go? So typically when we get a link off this page, like when I refer to trust flow, typically I'm referring to this. When I refer to authority, I'm usually referring to domain authority, which is typically one and the same. But you can see that in this case, typically when you have a well-trusted site, you're going to see that this is either a 1-to-1 ratio or it's going to be higher than your citation flow. So that's when you know you got a good quality domain to use as a backlink typically. Depending on, you still have to look at your tiers and things in this instance, but that's why we use these higher DA properties within the stack, because they contain this much trust flow on the root of those domains. So DA was just kind of a commonality that we used to really kind of bridge the gap from what people were thinking on PR. So, but it's kind of a combination, right? So like if I use the same thing when I'm looking, let's just go find a site somewhere. Let's just find the site in like dog food online or something. So let's say that this is like Chewy.com is a domain I could get a link from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I'm looking at is really just to kind of see what's going on with that specific page. So if I wanted a link from this site, like I already know right now just from looking at these two numbers that this is a good site to get a link from, because its trust flow is high and it's not too far off from what the citation flow is. When you got a crappy domain.
Yeah.
Let me try to think of
Give us a metaphor, Jimmy.
Here, let me put in one.
Okay.
Let's see if this one still holds metrics on it or not. So like this is one that would be spammed with GSA or low quality links, something like this. So, and it was spammed a long time ago, as you can see, 409,000 links. So you can see the difference here. We got very little trust flow and we have pretty good citation flow. But, this is way off the 1-to-2 ratio, right? So
yeah.
in actuality, if this was a good domain to get a link from, this trust flow would be a 2, citation flow would be a 5. But typically, you're not going to really see much push on stuff until your trust flow gets, probably within the 15 range.
At one point, I think it was in Traffic Hospital or something like that, you said, here's what happens if the trust flow is below blah, then the domain's toasted. You still recommend that, or do you still have a bottom of the barrel?
Yeah, so that's using the link research tools or Christopher Kemper's metrics.
Oh, that's a Kemper metric.
So anytime, yeah, so like I can show that too if people want to see it. But
yeah, I think that's good for people to know about.
So let me pull up. You guys want to see that, or?
Yeah, we do.
Doesn't matter to me if they want to say no.
Several people are saying yes. That's a good tip that I think we can toss in here.
So if we go in here and let me log in before I show it. Just doing this on one of my other monitors. Andy's asking, is this the best tool to use for this research? So typically what I like to do, so like there's DA properties out there where if you go and check it against the trust flow, you know, so like you saw in the Weebly, the DA is 96 and the trust flow is 86. So there's a 10-point difference. I know that that's pretty close to each other. You know, they're both really high. They're both above 75. So in that case, I know that I can use that as one of my DAS properties or any type of backlink property. Really, you know, you're going to get some good lift off of it. But if you are using it for, you know, there's new high DA properties that come out, but when you go and check the trust flow, they suck. You know, they might be in the 20s even though the DA is really high.
Right.
So, and you might wonder why that is, and typically it's because the trust of the links powering that DA site, while it might still have traffic, it's got a ton of crummy links.
Gotcha.
And so typically those are usually related to bad neighborhood type sites, and that's why I steer clear of them.
Okay.
So let me just go back in the archive here and see what we got. I think trying to see if there's a domain that I could pull that's not.
What are you looking for? Like a really, really nasty domain?
Well, yeah, one that I think that could show. Well, it doesn't matter. I'll just pull.
I think we
I'll
had
pull
one.
this one again.
We had a demo one.
Because everybody knows about this one.
Okay.
So this will be safe. All right, so in this one, like this is a local search, so you're not too concerned with what this metric is right here. But there's one thing I do know. When you have, so this is a detox report that I ran in linkresearchtools.com. If this is at a 2 or under, and this thing is all red, you're better off starting with a new domain. Like, don't even bother trying to recover it, because it's you're not going to get anywhere with it. It's basically like, if you could think of a scale, and DAS, if you've put like thousands and thousands of little pebbles on one side, you know, you're going to counter it with actual trusted type links, you would need a lot of those types of links to counterbalance all the trust that's gone out the window.
Right.
Right. And typically you'll run out of properties in some instances before you can rebalance that scale. So, you know, when you see that type of scenario where this rainbow bar here is all red, because there's some that we've done on calls that it's like maxed out red and it's a 2,
Yeah.
I just tell them to start over, because they will rank it faster than if they sit there and try to fiddle with the recovery.
So what you're saying is it could be fixed, but the amount of money you spend fixing it makes it not even worth it, really, in most cases.
Yeah, because really what you're trying to do is you're trying to counter the trust weight of that domain,
Yeah.
basically, because that brings us back to what I was referring to with when we're looking at Majestic, right? Like if we have thousands and thousands of links going here, and you can see like citation flow, there's a lot. There was 409,000 going to that at one point, but there's like zero trust on that domain. Now back in the old days, it didn't matter, but now this and DA are what's driving the boat. So maybe that will help explain some things to people with, you know, when I refer to trust, this is actually what I'm referring to. And then also, you know, DA is usually a pretty good metric, but before you use the property of a high DA, I just always throw that root domain into here and just check it. Because there's been some that I find that the trust flow doesn't measure up to, to the
so
DA.
Back to kindergartners at this, like me. When trust flow is red, your site is dead.
Yes, but it has to match up, you know, like on that report.
Got to match on the report. Okay, good.
Yeah, if this is completely red and this is a 2 or under, like, forget it.
So the bottom line, folks, is red is bad.
Red is like
Hey, I get that part, Jimmy. I can follow that.
like the old school Captain Kirk episodes.
Oh yeah, right. I love those.
Yeah, I know, they're awesome.
I love those.
I grew up on those.
All right. Cool. Wow, that was really That was kind of a little bit of a tiny mini traffic hospital thing right there. Because we get seriously deep into that stuff.
Yeah, like this is just scratching the surface on that,
Yeah,
but that is one thing about that. I mean, that was basically a brain dump that we did.
that was crazy. It's still
The
amazing.
everything I know about penalties up to that point.
I know,
We did that update a little bit ago, but
totally. Okay. Did that answer your question, Paula? Did that answer question number 10 for you? Give me a yes if that answered it for you. Because we got like 2,000 more from Paula.
so, and I'll drop that here for people that aren't familiar with it. So,
Oh yeah, let's do that.
of course, you have DA is the Moz. This is what I just use in general to look at links, right?
Okay.
So you also want to check it against trust flow, which is majestic. And then if you compare all that and put it into Kemper tools,
The link
a
detox.
good link is going to be at least a 4 and above
Okay.
on
On the link detox.
research tools is power times trust.
Yeah.
Domain level, it's not page level because we're not concerned with that. It's the trust of the domain.
Yeah, so you pretty much only use domain level, right?
Yeah.
Are there instances where you ever use the page level or?
Well, you know, if I'm trying to acquire a link manually through, you know, outreach or something,
Yeah.
I definitely check the metrics more so on the page level, especially if you're going to pay for it or something.
Okay.
So
For link building or link reach.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Paula said that really nailed it, exactly what she's trying to get from that question.
Excellent.
Let's see. Is there, and I'll just finish Paula's second question. Is there any benefit to entering a link on a high domain authority property when you cannot hyperlink it? One example would be entering a link in a bio section of your Twitter profile in addition to website link field. They give you the link in the bio cannot be hyperlinked, but could appearing there be a benefit?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
like a citation will count just the same as a link. I mean, it's not as powerful, but it'll still push a needle on a site. So,
Yeah.
and I think those will play more and more of a role for when semantic web rolls out. So when you start having, you know, so like what are identifiers for Google? You know, they have a URL, they have a phone number, they have an address. Like those types of things Google can identify and associate with a person, place, or product, right? So that's the kind of things I'll still use those just to, you know, throw into the mix.
Yeah. Doesn't that help a bit with diversity of your backlinks too, Jimmy, or is that not a role?
Yeah, like I've seen sites move up just from using those without the actual link. So I definitely will use them. I don't use them as the core method of backlinking, but I still use them because I just see them playing a more important role into the future.
Okay. Zinda's asking you a question as well. Jimmy, what software systems do you use to manage and record your domain authority stacking clusters? Thanks.
Well, I've so we have a team and group of people that we've trained over the years, and they basically know each section of what I have them build for a DAS cluster. And so basically, I leave them in charge of doing that. I just make sure that they have the training and the properties down for what they need and make sure that they're doing variations on everything.
Gotcha.
So I usually leave that up to, you know,
The team.
my assistants and the team. So.
Yeah, I know a couple of your assistants, or at least I know one of them.
Yeah, she's
I know,
pretty good.
Yeah, she's got different tools. A lot of it's spreadsheet, you know, but she uses other things too. Okay, so that's not the answer that some people want to hear. We use the magical DAS clustering harmonic implosion software super duper Swiss Army knife machine.
That's push button.
Working on that one, right, Sue? Oh, I'm not supposed to talk about it. David Hood.
Tell anybody.
I can't help it. David Hood is saying that he likes to use OneNote. Okay. Yeah, I've heard people use that. I don't know how you're using it, so I can't really speak to that. Okay. Let me see what we've got. I have a system that I use you guys might be interested in. I use it for all of my SEO testing, and mostly I use it for just organizing specific hierarchical drag and drop systems. It's called GQs. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. Now, again, I don't put all of my information and logins and all these types of things, but it's really, really great for being able to move around note takings when things, it's like a mobile spreadsheet, so that let's say you want to move one of your stack things around and move something over here, just drag it up, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I don't want to test it that way. Or like if Jimmy tells me that I'm supposed to do this, this, and this, if I've done it in the wrong order, I can say take my Weebly and then shoot it down under another thing. I love GQs. It's like my favorite. Yeah, David Hood is saying GQs.
Yeah, GQs is nice. I really like that as far as, yeah, for processing and everything. That's really good.
Yeah, I use it because I like the mobility, because I often need to move stuff around, and I'll just go ahead and drop a link in there. It's really inexpensive, and we use it for team management, but there's so many ways you can use GQs. It's like not just for note taking or task assignments or whatever. I started using it to keep track of some pretty. I've been trying to keep up with some of the basics that Jimmy's saying, and so I'll perform my little tests behind him and try to copy him. And the only way for me to do that when he's talking about it is to put it in this big pile of movable things. So that's one method that's really, really been helping me. It also helps me keep track of if I use my ranking tools, I can see if my results, my SEO testing has gone through, or if I've completely tanked it. So it's
Yeah, one thing I like about this a lot too, because Carrie uses this a lot as well. But
yeah,
you could do assignments just for that person, so just you and her can see the to-do list on
yes,
that, or you can do your personal ones. And then I like that you get notified when it's done, and also you can get it from your phone as well. They have an app for it, so
yeah,
it's really handy. If
yeah.
that's all, I have ones for grocery lists on there.
Oh yeah. In fact,
So,
I even I'll actually show you guys some of that stuff at some point. But it's just to me the coolest list building system probably ever created.
and it integrates with your Google Calendar in case anybody
Yeah,
wants to know.
yeah. So it has so many uses, but it's only recently, last 2 months, that after looking at 14 or 15 different kinds of SEO things that Jimmy's been trying to teach me, I've had to store the way that they should be stacked. So I like stacking the lists like that, and then putting notes on them about how he screwed something up or not. So let me go ahead and drop that in. Again, that's just something that's good for you guys to know about. It's not for everybody, but it might be an alternative. I call it flexible spreadsheeting. Okay, cool. What else we got? So Jimmy's screen is still on. Okay, cool. Let's see what else we got. Thomas is saying, Thomas, are you here? Do you have any additional training, or do you have any additional training on DWS? It's very robust, and trying to wrap my head around it. You should do an OTS for DWS one time. What is OTS? For DWS and TLKT, because they are so powerful. Is Tech Foundation 1 designed to explore these?
It's
Yeah,
over the shoulder.
yeah. Over the shoulders. Sorry, thank you. Yes, Thomas, we actually have a lot of revamping happening right now, including a restructuring of our help videos, which is a gargantuan project, but we are on that. Now, we do have a lot also in our help files. The help file videos, including the local help file videos, are, I'm going to drop the general help file. I have a page called the help file of help files. And there are a surprisingly huge amount of videos in there. And I'm going to go ahead now. That being said, there's some reorganization happening because Matt is in the middle of some pretty heavy duty work right now. So let me just drop a couple of links in here that actually are videos in there, including some of our big webinar videos that are how-to webinar videos. Let me see. How do I change it? Where is that? I think Kevin's moved something around on the help desk. Hang on a second. Help desk.
Do you want to do live Q&A tonight too, Russ?
Yeah, totally. Anybody has a live question, anybody's got the guts to open their microphone, we'll just have a conversation with you. Octavio? Okay, I'm turning it on, Octavio. Paula got most of her questions answered, so she won't be mad at me later on. Let me see. Can Jimmy finish last week's questions for me? Christina Crawley, did you miss last week? Okay, we'll take one detour with Octavio. Let's go back and forth, you guys. What I'm going to do is, okay, yep, Ryan is going to do that. I'm going to alternate between each one of you. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Octavio on the mic system here for a second, and then we'll go over to Christina. Oh, he's being a gentleman. He's saying, no, let Christina go. You guys are so nice. But I have to find Christina's. I'm doing 3 things at once right now, by the way. Let me go ahead and find.
Do you want me to unmute Christina?
Yeah, unmute Christina and let's find out what's going on while I find the help desk of help desk tickets that apparently.
Hello, thank you. We just got to the end last week when
I know.
Jimmy was finishing up the report that he was running, and I didn't know whether my doctor's site had a penalty or what exactly he was going to tell me because I couldn't get things to move. Do I need to put that back in again, Jimmy?
Oh yeah. Can you drop that into the? Because you didn't want to share the domain, right?
No, I did not want to tell anybody that.
She wants a private live consultation.
Well,
that's the way it is. That's okay.
After what I've seen over the past week, I'm kind of a little afraid.
You should be. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, it is. Your websites are very personal things, and there's no need to, we're happy to do so. I was just mostly teasing you. Hey, everyone, I've gone ahead and dumped in your our help file of help files page while Jimmy's doing that, and I only put this in here because they do link to a lot of videos until we can reorganize our video help file plans, which are going to be way more over-the-shoulder stuff coming up. We're just kind of at a benchmark process where Sue's about to launch a full global attack on all upgraded versions of about 6 different things at once, which is just her fashion of doing things.
I still think we should do one at a time.
I don't think that she's capable of doing that. Go back
See,
to your
we can't all multitask.
Go back to your bubble bath. Yeah, so we have everything kind of hitting at once, and we'll probably do a slow rollout for each item, but the over-the-shoulder stuff will be coming in a much more organized fashion. But in this help file of help files, you can see you were asking about DWS. I didn't quite finish answering your question. The DWS Any Silo Builder help file has got some really good videos on there, Mike, and I would advise that you go back and look at them. Now, a couple of these pictures, not all of them, a couple need to be updated, but we're working on that. The additional is the supporting synonyms URL in here. So we have some pretty good help. We also have there's a section in the help file of help files that I just left you guys on local search marketing help files. Both Sue and Matt DeCruz have some pretty cool help files here. So it's local search ranking, silo help files, and the local search marketing software bundle help file, and building a local website with TLKT. Now some of these things have shifted, and this one needs to be updated, but these are still good. Okay, just follow the instructions that we've given you on over-optimization and don't do it. Okay, so that's what I have for you right now, and if you have any specific questions, don't hesitate to ask us about that. You asked me also, is Tech Foundation 1 designed to explore these? Yes, Tech Foundation 1 is pretty intense, and I love it because we actually do a drill down for you in our new technology, which is Kraken, essentially, what is called Trident. So we actually do, with your Tech Foundation 1 course, which is the first level course, this is all about certification level 1, and we're really focusing on researching, planning, and optimizing your SEO silo money website. So that really, the focus of our first level training, our advanced training, which is above and beyond just the regular members area, which is also awesome, by the way. It's really the case study that's laid out for you on this side is all about how we teach you. In fact, the success of the site that we're using as an example, which is in South Africa, we use it in a foreign country, but we want you to see the advantages, and we actually just give you that site as a demo and as a white paper so that you can see what we teach you through the live certification on a properly set up. And it's cheaper to rank by the dozen when you're doing bulk keyword ranking with SEO silo architecture, but we also prepare you for our advanced training courses. And this is pretty cool stuff, what we cover in this course, and I do consider it If you're a brand new beginner online, let's say you've only been online for 4 or 5 months, I would recommend that you just stick with the basic members area. Okay, so yes, this is designed definitely to do that. Now, what also comes with this course is the equivalent of a done for you. You do get one-on-one coaching as well as our perpetual mastermind coaching forever. In other words, once you're a member of this course, you're always a member of our certification community. But we also do a Kraken report, which is the Automagic, essentially we call it the Automagic silo system. This is the old sales page for it, but included in your Tech 1 is we do all this for you because you're going to give us the 3 or 4 keywords, and we drill down using our own advanced systems. It's actually gotten quite good since the Trident report launched. It's even better than it was. So that's all included in your Silo Tech Foundation. In other words, you don't have to do the work. You still learn how to do the work, but we want to make sure that you guys get your head around it. So we do the first blueprint for you, essentially, or at least the first drill down for you, okay, using advanced systems. So I want to make sure that you understand that. George, yes, we are very much aware of that. That's why we're always cautious with that. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I think I might have answered that question. Let's see if we've got some other questions.
So
Thomas,
I got
go ahead.
I got Christina's up here.
Oh, great. Go ahead and take over if you want. Oh, yeah.
It does look like you got a lot of toxic links on the site. There is malware, and there is hacked, and there is
oh, there is
porn pointing to the site. So
we got porn.
I can download this. I can download this list, but you'll have to go through them to kind of decide. Because the one that you want to really look at are the Qzx911 Sometimes those could be PBNs or something that you control, and sometimes they get thrown into there. So I just want to look at those ones specifically and see if they are good or bad. But I can download this list, and if you put your email in there, I can email this over to you.
Christina?
That'd be awesome.
Christina?
Yes.
Have you taken the traffic hospital training, the advanced training?
Looks like I'm going to.
Christina, I got to say, I mean, it's just because I'm so passionate about what I learned in that training, because I'm not focused on, cleaning up or detoxing and all that. Because I learned so much, I really do recommend, especially in that market, sometimes in aspects of that market, which I'm not going to mention. I did tell you before that I was involved in that market about 5-6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Just there's little pockets of it. It's brutal.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. It just is. I think they got plenty of money, and so I would just recommend just having your tools sharpened.
Okay.
Okay, and that's the one that's going to do it for. That's one. There's many things that would do it for you, but that would probably you'd see direct financial compensation very, very quickly.
And so, Jimmy, you think that this site is savable with all of that? It's been going on for a few years.
Yeah, I think it's savable. I just think it's a matter of cleaning up those links.
Okay.
So, and then I don't know about on the Panda side of things, but I definitely.
I have a feeling there's a Panda penalty on there, big time. Yeah, I already kind of knew that.
Could be.
Yeah, so this will help with the link portion, the Penguin portion of it, but it's always good to do a run through on it for like a Panda analysis too. So.
Jimmy, I know you cover this a lot more in the traffic hospital course, but can you quickly, like off the top of your head, what are the next 5 steps you as a master of this kind of stuff would do with that exact site, just for our listeners?
Well, I would try to, if I had access to analytics, I'd try to identify when the drop happened.
Analytics.
And then, yeah, or like Google Analytics.
Sure.
Or anything that you've been using to track keyword rankings with it, because both. Penguin are usually pretty harsh drops when they happen. Right. You'll see keywords drop across the board, but Pandas can also look like that sometimes if it's a small site. So usually, like sometimes, local type sites appear to be a Penguin even though it's a Panda, because they'll start really only going after one specific city keyword and then long tails around that city. And if you get hit on the main keyword, of course, all the keywords are going to drop on it. And so sometimes those look like Penguin, but they're not. Sometimes it could be a Panda issue. So the next thing I go do is check for repetition on the site with URLs and keywords. And then I try to marry the two. I look at what links are going where and to how the pages are optimized of where they're going. and then I just kind of work out from there, make sure everything's cleaned up on the site.
Got it.
No repetition, get rid of bad links. So it's a process. It's hard to say, you know.
No, but that's I didn't want the details necessarily, just kind of just off the top of your head. And that's some of the stuff that I learned, you know, by watching you do it on the live over your shoulder training, or the webinar training rather.
Yeah, it's hard, you know. You basically what you are trying to teach yourself how to do is how to look for panda or penguin, and then really understanding the algorithms in some of the patents to really be able to put your mindset into what is it looking at. Because when you know what it's looking at, then it makes it much easier to go and recover sites, because you know the rules that it's operating in. If that, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it totally does make sense. I mean, I admit that I did feel a little bit like I was in a boot camp when I took that course, but I also had the same satisfaction of getting out of there. You know, it really felt like, I mean, I had this like satisfaction of having gone through like these immense processes. And also the really cool thing was just seeing some of our students go out there and immediately apply that for cash making, you know, like Kurt or Mike Hayden, you know, just immediately making like five figures.
Well, that crazy one that Mike recovered, that guy jumped back up to like.
It was crazy.
It was like 1 point. It was a lot of money.
Yeah, and what's like, yeah, it really was. And again, you know, this is, you know, we don't tout like, or, you know, we don't really like talk about how much money our users. That's probably something that you've noticed is like, it's just never been our style to do that. This is one of those courses where what Mike and the rest of those guys call earning reports are just they're almost not believable. That's one of the reasons that I don't use them. So it's something that you're going to want to put under your hat at some point. Okay, is that good for now, Christina? General overview?
Thank you so much. It is so good, and I want to say a big thanks to Octavio for letting me go ahead.
Oh, Octavio, you guys, all right. Well, we can probably take her off. Octavio, maybe we should. Let me just switch over. I'm gonna faithfully go back and forth so that you guys don't yell at me again in the Skype group like you did last week. After we're gonna go back and forth from the grid and then back to. And if somebody wants to come online, Thomas, if you're here and you want to ask these questions live, just let me know, and then we'll go to Octavio. Thomas says, I'm very interested in your new project with Mike Clay. Can't wait for more info to enroll. Is Kraken an essential tool for this strategy, or are TLKT and DWS adequate for most markets? That would be actually a Mike Clay question. I think Sue also, we know the answers, but we can unmute Mike Clay if you want, Jimmy. He should be on there.
Yeah.
Let me find him. I can find him too. Hang on.
Sorry, I'm just getting this emailed over to Christina.
Oh, that's okay. I got it. I can do his thingy. Where are you, Mike? Are you even here? Did you bail out on me? There you are. Hang on a second. Okay. Let me just grab you. There you are. Oh, it goes by first name. There you go. Okay. All right, I found you, Mike. Are you there?
I am.
Good. Can you answer this question for me?
Which one is more essential to use? Well, DWS, you have to have DWS. That's not even optional. We use Kraken more than TLKT, but we're getting better with TLKT because learning some of the the custom filters from Jimmy and Sue makes TLKT easier to use. But for now, we're using Kraken, and we're using some of the reports Kraken gets that are not in TLKT.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And this is an evolving course, I might say, just so you guys know behind the scenes. Mike just graduated as a ThemeZoom certified advisor this year, and he was a awesome speaker as well. It's not very often that someone shows up and attends our stuff and then also speaks, so it was really mutually beneficial. And there's a lot of activity happening. Sue and Mike and I had a conversation, I think it was either yesterday morning or this morning. It all blurs together at this point. But it was really an amazing conversation. So the reports and the types of reports and the situations that we'll be talking to you guys about will be more in depth. But I will say that the presentations that Mike is using up front, just speaking from an observer, and the stuff I've learned from him, and how my own software can be used, our team software can be used, is growing and enhancing. And we do have other agencies, both small one-man shops and multiple-person shops, who are utilizing different kinds of reports. So by no means are we telling you that there's one way to do it, but we will be showing you highly effective ways that are proven in the field. And so does that pretty much say it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to clear it up, because I said both of them,
Mm-hmm.
If it's not something that's going to put you in a bind, you want all of it. You want everything that there is. But if you have to pick between TLKT and Kraken, start with Kraken and grow into TLKT.
Yeah, and that's interesting advice because I agree with you. And this will make more sense when we launch the included course that Mike and I are still outloading right now, along with Sue. We'll get more into details about the progressive expenses required to incorporate that, but we're providing you with the basics of what that opportunity is. So just know that we're going to come back around to this, and there's a lot to cover. Also, I think Mike is going to be speaking, Mike Clay is going to be speaking on Cotton's webinar on tomorrow.
Tomorrow night, yeah.
Jeez Louise, is it Tuesday really?
24 hours from now.
I feel like I just live on webinars. I'm just going to leave GoToWebinar on. I'm not even going to get off the call. Okay, so be sure to be on there if you want to hear more about that. Anyway, hope that makes sense to you guys. We'll move to Octavio now. Thank you, Mike. I might pull you back on later. And then, okay, Octavio, I'm finding you, and we're going to get right into your always excellent questions. Let me see if I can find. Eventually, I will get this whole phone thing down, and it'll be easy for everybody. Let me see here. Did you get that over to her okay, Jimmy? Okay.
Yeah, I just emailed that off.
All right. Octavio, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly. At least I can.
Oh, thanks. I don't know if this is going to be much help, but I'd love for you guys to take a look on one of my client site, but it's in Portuguese though. Does that change everything?
Not necessarily. I mean, in other countries, typically the algorithm isn't as harsh in some of those countries, so it should be okay. I mean, page layout and everything I think would be exactly the same. So
awesome, because it's been stuck in between 14th and 16th position for more than 2 months now. I did a few mistakes with the site at the beginning.
Okay.
But now the penalty, there was a penalty already. I got it removed. And now I don't know why the site's still stuck. I disavowed links as per Jimmy's instructions from last week's, 2 weeks ago, Webby, but nothing's going on. And I recently bought a PBN. I know you guys have mixed opinions about PBNs, but I bought a nice PBN which has DA of 41, trust flow 29, and lots of links. I don't want to send it to the site if the site's still even if with the smallest penalties. I just wanted you guys to take a look at it.
Is this a site you want to keep private? So we got to do this cloak and dagger thing, or is it public?
No. You guys can put it out there, but it's in a foreign language, so I don't know how much help it would be for the others.
Oh well, I'm sure that anything's better than looking at a spreadsheet.
Yeah, the SEO principles should still be the same. So,
Jimmy, do you want to take over, or shall I put the site up for?
I wish I had my brother on with me. He speaks Portuguese
fluently.
Oh, really?
All right.
Wow, that's cool.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that's the website there.
Yes. It's a client's website. His son made it, so he doesn't want to change it, and those things that I couldn't convince the client. My mistake,
I see.
Let me just get some stuff up and rolling here, and then I'll share my screen.
Sure. I'm
Close
trying
down
to
some.
find out where you guys are talking so I could put it on the. He must have handed it to you, and oh, there it is. I see it. Brazil. It's been a long time since I've been to Brazil. Okay.
Yeah, it's great to visit.
Yeah.
Not that good to live though.
Yeah, I remember that. I was actually in that city shaped like an eagle. What's that called again? Not Sao Paulo. It's west of Sao Paulo. Okay. So here we go. This is the site that we'll be looking at, everyone.
So this is the main keyword, just in case.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right, let's see. Need to open up a couple of other programs. Do you know about when the site was hit?
The site was hit October last year. I started working with this client mid-February or mid-January. He basically had a lot of URLs injected into the site. I don't know if the URLs existed, but there were a lot of links pointing to them.
Okay. Let me see. I should start that one right now.
It was my first client ever, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know how to do it. I just was watching to the Cotton's webinars, and he said, "Look, just go after a client, and you basically you learn as you go."
Right.
And
sell it and then let it all sort itself out. That's actually
and that's what I did.
Well, the first client that I ever had. Again, Sue and I were talking about earlier on our earlier webinar today. It's exactly what I did. It was a little bit overreaching. It was a massive, massive contract in 2007. And yeah.
Yeah, now I look back what I'm charging the guy for the work, and it's very cheap, you know.
Yeah,
it's very cheap what I'm asking the guy. I can't go up in price because his site's stuck on second page. I have no reason to say, look, you got to give more money because what I'm doing, it's more complicated. I don't have the skill set yet to ask for more money. I don't know.
Yeah, I gotcha. This is a keyword that you're targeting.
Sorry, it just I had all this stuff open earlier today for our monthly.
All right.
Just logging in.
Well, you got those things constantly running.
Let's see.
I'm curious. How many?
I can't believe you guys are looking at the website. I mean,
No, it's
these past few weeks, I'm not barely sleeping. I'm sleeping, but I keep thinking of it during the whole day, not knowing what to do, and I don't want to keep checking the ranks every hour, so I try to look only once a day, but it's driving me nuts.
Yeah, I understand. I hate that, man. I feel for you. I really do.
So it's interesting that you have, there's a lot of fluxing going on here. Like you'll see, like massive. Does he do AdWords as well?
Yeah, he does. He does. Okay. He messes with words. He messes with price, everything. So that's why you might see fluctuation.
Yeah. So this right here, just because overall, so you know, people that change their site a lot or whatever, doing AdWords and stuff, like sometimes this gets a little violent. Like typically you'll see where they get up and then it might be a slow gradual incline, or you know, typically you don't see that many drops, but you see one here where he did take a hit at some point and then it went back up. But this one was the hold on a sec.
Is this organic traffic or paid?
He stepped away for a second. It looks like it's actually showing you keywords, traffic cost. No, this is organic positioning. This must be the traffic for organic. It must be both, actually, if I'm looking at it properly.
Yeah, so
Is that both
So
paid
what
and
this is showing is, yeah, so that's your traffic, and these would be the keywords. So keywords is usually what I typically tell. Traffic's not bad, but when you're looking at the links overall, you know if you took a hit, if these are the amount of keywords you have ranking. So it's a good way to just kind of tell, and this is free, and as long as they've been up online for a while for SEMrush to pick them up, then you usually could just look at this for free. You don't need all the other details. I use this more for, you know, when you do Google AdWords and stuff like that. But
All right.
it's also a great free tool just to kind of do a bird's eye view of any possible penalties. So when I'm looking at this, I'm seeing a very sharp drop. So, and that happened about, like you said, in the October.
Yeah, that's when the site started to get attacked.
Yeah, so
October 2014. Yep.
Yeah, and that was a very bad time frame for the drop. I mean, mostly what you have in the October time frame was you have Penguin 3.0 and the pirate update and everything else. You know, they're dealing with dupe content issues.
Hardy?
So,
Arg.
like Google always does, let's roll out Penguin and Panda at the same time.
Yeah. Totally.
Oh, and here's a unknown update that we don't want to tell you about.
All right.
So, but looking at the amount of drop, I would say that it's pretty safe to say that it's a penguin because it looks like the waterfall effect there, and it hasn't come back up. You know what I mean? So, typically,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So typically, a panda will be a slow bleed. Usually, like, you know, if you have a panda, because you're not going to see a waterfall, it's going to like gradually die out over time, because sometimes with panda, you know, they're getting affected from it from 404 errors or something, and Google's not, you know, it's not that the site quality or interaction isn't there, it's just that, you know, I think in some senses they try to give webmasters a chance to address some of those issues if they pay attention to some of that stuff. But
Okay.
so I would definitely say this is a penguin. Like, we can also look at that time frame. The other tool I go and I look at is on Majestic. So we'll just drop that site in here, see what it looks like. So you definitely got pretty good trust flow and citation flow going on.
Yeah, I
So-
finished that stack about a month ago, so that probably helped.
Okay,
Good
cool.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really good. And you can see, like, trust flow is above the citation flow, which is really where you want it to be. So in that sense, you're sitting pretty. So now, just for kicks, I'll run a...
One question. Do no follow anchors, do they count as, I don't know, as the anchor? Are they included in the percentage I should aim for when linking?
No follows don't count against your... They don't count for toxicity, and they don't count for anchor percentage.
Oh, great.
Like, it's basically like a free pass. So anytime you see a no follow, I usually skip over it. So
All right.
Have you been
Because
targeting? Go ahead.
Sorry. Last week, Jimmy said, I told him, look, I'm stuck between 14, 15, and 16. And just by hearing this, he said, look, it could be over-optimization with inbound anchor linking. Then I went ahead and I disavowed one of the main keyword anchors I had. But nothing's happened since. It's been like 2 weeks now. I don't know, 20 days.
You mean you disavowed a single
yeah,
link?
and I'm
I disavowed a single, I disavowed a domain which contained my main keyword exactly anchor.
Okay.
So then in here, so yeah, and I'll go over the link portion next. I'm still waiting on that report to finish. So over here, let me just take a look at your keyword again. So you know which one your keyword is. So you're dealing with kind of two things here. So part of your main keyword is in your root of your domain. And you know, when I run a Screaming Frog report, typically what I'm looking for is repetition of the keyword, and then we'll look at that from the we'll compare that to the link perspective in a moment once that report finishes. But that's typically what I'm trying to look at right off the bat. Sorry, I got screaming kids in the background here. I apologize.
Screaming kids and screaming
just
frogs.
Put the filter on. Must be because we opened up Screaming Frog, because it seems like that's the only time we start. So, but you can see, so do you have other keywords that you're going after on this site?
Not at the moment, no. I mean,
so
I'm tracking.
What I see.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I'm tracking a few other keywords, but his main concern is to put this one on the first page. So that's it got to a point where that's all I'm trying to do. You know, I'm kind of desperate with this client. I'm not having problems with any of the others, but this one is keeping me awake.
Yeah. So I think this one, in this sense here, we have you have it in, you know, the main keyword that you're going after currently is in the root. So, and I think
it's
Greg,
the brand.
Yeah,
All
I think Greg addresses this, but you got to be careful anytime you send anchors when it is part of the brand. And what that's going to what determines that is how much search traffic that brand actually gets. You know, new keywords come up all the time, or new brands are born online all the time, and it's just part of one of the changes they made was, is it realistic to get a ton of anchors for something that doesn't actually get searched for? And so regardless if it's a really old brand or really new brand, you know, I kind of throw them in the same boat as an EMD, because, you know, unless it's an EMD that gets mass search volume, you know, if it has the traffic associated with it, you can start building it more as a brand, but you got to give it more brandable links. Like, for instance, you would build citations or something like that. You know, you'd start doing more semantic web type markup and things like that. Something to really bring in the brand presence so Google knows that this is an actual business. The second thing is, you know, if it's a new brand, Google doesn't know anything about this, and there's probably not many searches going on. So this would be the other flip of the coin. I don't know your particular situation, but I'm just kind of giving you scenarios. So anytime it's a new website or a new brand, it doesn't know any different. So some people say, like, oh, you could just do URL or you can just do brand, and that's not entirely true, because if it doesn't have the search volume behind it, Google thinks that you're trying to manipulate it just the same, because whether it's a brand new keyword or a keyword that's trending or whatever, it's still going outside those guidelines. So that's why I think there's some confusion in the SEO industry about, you know, when is it okay to just use branded? Is it okay to just use URLs? Because if you do just a URL, you still have a partial match in your, you know, if all you did was roll out www. You know, your domain name, it's going to end up being a partial match of what your main keyword is. So that's why you still got to be careful about how many links you build, specifically around even the brand at first. So, and I recommend citations typically initially because it's branding, but a lot of those also just do website for the link out. So you're going to more other type anchor text, which, you know, that helps with dilution and also helps build a brand presence. So now moving on to the title. So looking at this, I don't see anything where you're really going crazy on the, you know, your particular pages. Try and look for the keyword again. So right here you have two versions of this. So do you see? We have line 30. I would zoom in if I could, but this is.
No, I can see it. 33.
So we got 33, and you have 15.
All right.
Okay, so I don't know. You know, I don't speak Portuguese like my brother does. But
contact us. Contact us.
Oh, okay. So So basically what that is, you have it in, this is the same keyword basically in your domain twice. So one thing you want to be careful of is there doesn't seem for me to be a lot of content on here, but we already have 2 instances that the URL contains the same keyword in. So right off the bat, we know what keyword you're going after, and we already see repetition with that keyword in the URL structure. So when you come over to here, the next thing we're looking at is title. So you have it in the title here.
I'm sorry, Jim, I'm not sure I follow. You showed 2 pages back there, 33 and 15, I guess. Let me see.
And 15. Yeah.
They're the same
Oh,
page.
you moved. Oh, sorry, that's a 301. I didn't even see that. Yeah, never mind. So you're okay on that front. So yeah, never mind.
All right.
I didn't catch that.
I thought I had another problem on top of everything, so that's why.
No, you're good. I didn't catch that 301. So right here, your title is basically repeating. It's repeating that keyword, right?
Yeah,
so,
it's got twice. Yeah.
And then we got it here. And we got it here. And we got it here. So of the pages you do have, it's going over and over again.
Because I'm repeating the same title after the page name, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Oh yeah, man. Now I see it.
Want to change that up, because it's like if I went up to you on the street and said, "Hey, how are you today?" and you go, "I'm fine." That's awesome. What do you want to get for lunch? I'm fine.
Got it.
Okay, so what do you want to do after lunch? I'm fine. So it'd be like would be an interaction like what you're doing with Google. So then I'll just kind of scroll over here and see what else.
And they would say, "You're not fine."
Google would say, "You are not."
You can't be fine if you're saying it that much.
Could the internal page's title hurt the positioning of my homepage?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Or,
yeah.
Definitely.
Any page on the site can affect the rankings of any other page on the site. So
all of these pages that got the title wrong, they're all linking to the homepage. That's how I built it, like a small siloed site.
So now, and that is your internal. I mean, this is all just stuff you can fix on site, right?
Yeah.
Overall, you look good. I thought you had an issue here with that other domain or the other URL, but you took care of that. But you just got to go in and clean up your titles on here. Sure. You kept your meta descriptions blank, which is great because that lets Google pick the descriptions so they don't feel like you're, manipulating them that much.
Yeah, Greg Morrison taught us that, and you guys might have taught him that. So.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's go to. That would have been a pickup from the traffic hospital course.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see. Where do we want to go next? So I'm just waiting on your link report, so that should be done here hopefully soon. But then we can compare the two. Let me see if I can run just a quick one real quick.
Jimmy, if you go into Ahrefs and you look for the anchors that this site's receiving, you're going to see Prada bags, Viagra, and all sorts of stuff. But they're linking to pages that don't exist.
Have you done anything with those pages? Have you give Google a 410 or anything?
Yes, I removed the URL onto Google Analytics or Webmaster Tools. Webmaster Tools, you have the option to remove from cache and remove from whatever the URLs.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And did you, for on-site, so if you have this in Google, did they still pick those links up in the Google Webmaster Tools?
If you look for the pages indexed on Google for the website, it's going to give us around 200 pages. And some of them are really spammy stuff, like Prada bag or whatever. But these pages, they don't exist. That's why I'm kind of lost here.
So what you want to do, so even though the page isn't doesn't exist, you still have the links pointing to that site. So the links are still trying to go to your site. And I don't know if you have a catch-all 404. Do you have anything like that going on?
What do you mean, like a
Like
link juice keeper, whatever?
Yeah, like link juice keeper, it will automatically.
No, I don't.
Nothing like that. Okay.
I don't.
And nothing to handle 404s.
No, I haven't said anything particularly. I mean,
So if you try to go to that page, or one of those pages that you know about, what does it do? Does it take you to the home page, or does it?
No. You'll get a 404.
Okay. So an additional measure that you could do, just to be on the safe side, is you want to put a 410 code into your htaccess for all of those URLs. So, and that one's pretty simple to do. It's just like a 301 except you're using 410, and I think you got to change something in the header. 410's an older piece of that code, and so you just have to define it, and then you can use it.
All right.
But you could look it up online. It's pretty simple to implement.
Yeah, I'm writing everything down here. 410 into htaccess for the non-existing pages.
Yeah, because that'll tell Google those are permanently gone, and they will never, ever exist on the site.
Gotcha.
So that might help it. And then you want to get those pages, those links, you want to go throw them through indexification.
I didn't know that, Jimmy. So like a 410 is like a commitment, and then that have you noticed that gives a bit of a boost, or at least it's better safe than sorry, or what's?
It's better safe than sorry, because from things that I've read or seen or tried, like even though you do things it's kind of like the site links, like when your site becomes an authority, you can define what your site links are. So sites that have multiple indents under them when you search for the brand.
Yeah.
You can suggest to Google, I want this indent or I want this indent, and they try to honor it, but they can still choose to put in those other pages. So likewise, I don't trust them to do, when you say don't cache this or don't index this, I don't trust them to not.
Got it.
So I force them to do it through the htaccess.
Okay.
That's just I just don't trust Google.
What? Okay.
So now the next thing we're looking at, so you know which keyword you're going after here?
Yeah, I know. I do. Yeah.
So this is the next thing that you would address right here. So you have some branded going in, but these are going to count as partial matches going to your site. So you have a lot of partial matches inbound, but this is the one that you want to pay attention to right here, because so you're going to de-optimize the titles on your for those pages that we saw.
Yeah.
And then you want to come in here, and what I do is I compare to the inbound links of where it's going to on site. And if it's out of control, then I just want to dial it back. Like you can see 24% are your keyword anchors going in the site. So even though you have few of links, you still want to pay attention to your percentages, right? So sometimes I'll build other links that water stuff down before I go in for the kill for an exact match anchor. Like I try to use that towards the very end, so it's a punch, but it's got the keyword that you want in it.
Yeah, I get it.
So
I did this in the beginning, so I barely knew how to do it.
Yeah. So this is what you want to look at. You want to just kind of, I don't know if this is one that you control or not, but I would gut this out before you go in. The other thing you do is start building dilution. So,
Jimmy, one question.
Things you could do.
I'm having several links from the same site. So does that mean the link's coming from a sticky post? So whenever I post anything, it's gonna have my sticky post on it. So it's gonna count as another link from the same domain. Is that right or no?
Correct. Yes, it will. So this is what happens, and I'll just draw this up because this might be good for people to know.
No, that's great stuff, man. I had no idea about that.
Yeah.
So this sticky post thing might be tricky.
So let me pull this back over. Yeah, so sticky post is okay, but it depends on like how much content things you're going to put on that domain. You know, depends on if you're going to go back through and start using more of it. But so if you look at this from a bubble view, so you have a money site over here, and then you got a PBN thing going on here. But then every time, because it's associated to a sticky post, that thing's it's gonna act like this.
Every time I post something.
Yeah, so when you look at back to, where did my thing go? Okay, so when you look at this, they're all destinations of the root, right?
Yeah.
But you also have, these are different URLs from that
course.
same domain. So what's happening here is all of these anchors will count, but Google will only count usually the top 5 power-wise for the anchor, if that makes sense. So
It does.
So let's say you build, these are all continuing posts. It might be even going to other sites, but we still got stuff going to this one. So all this juice is going to flow to the same destination. But, in normal linking, if somebody mentions your post or, gives you credit for something, they might just link to it once. There's occasions where they tag stuff. You'll see tag URLs going to the same URL, sometimes because the tag's associated with the post it was on, and that's okay, but that's why you don't go nuts with tags, and you don't go, so Google would count these ones here. They would count it up to 5 places, but then anything after this will count against your anchor text, but you don't get the juice from it. So that's kind of what you want to.
So it's going to over-optimize me without giving me the juice.
Correct. So that's what you want to do when you're looking at, because these are all going to be the same keyword anchor coming in. So you definitely want to be doing, if you do use this method, you want to make sure you're keeping dilution going to this specific domain, so that way the next time, if you did a sticky post up to like 5, I wouldn't go beyond that. That's another reason on DAS is why, in the DAS sense, this is what's happening on the DAS side of things. So you have your main page, and then we have our silo pages, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, what we do, let's say that the blue are now the DAS clusters. We're not going all to the same page, and so
there's some buoyancy there.
Yeah, we're trying to prevent, what we're looking at, currently, and then these are also, LSI and pure diverse type keywords that are going back to these different pages. So for one, this prevents trying to go over the 10 links to any one page, which keeps you pretty safe with a lot of the filters, as long as the domains are pretty good. But also because this is siloed, it's going to still power, all this juice is still going to power up. So let me back up here because I don't think I explained this correctly. Or I just want you guys to understand.
Yeah, it's kind of intense, so you want to slow it down.
So the 5 links, right, we know that beyond that, they don't count past that, right? However, that's because it's to this page. What if it goes to a different page? Then we can use an additional 5 links.
Yeah, exactly.
Does that make sense? So it's maximizing the power of what you're able to do with some of your properties. So hopefully that makes a little more sense.
It does. It does. It does a lot of sense. I see what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty common for anybody just to want to point all to one place. It's actually a little bit more work if you have to go back and target, boost those deeper pages, but it's so worth it because you'll see the kick right away. It's pretty cool.
So what I was doing.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. What I was doing wrong, I had a sticky post on my PBN, and then I had vKraken with Social Explosion posting every whatever, let's say every week. So anytime vCracken posted, it would count as another link from my domain to my client site because it had a sticky post on it.
Exactly, and that's why we recommend changing those to nofollow.
Yes.
Um,
In fact, that's clearly laid out at automaticvideotraffic.com.
Oh man, that was great stuff. Thanks a lot, you guys.
Yeah, you bet.
Did you take some
Did
stuff?
that help answer most of your questions and stuff? I think just addressing your titles and then really, you know, I would just go and make sure you don't post any more off of that, and you could probably bring it back with just doing more other type anchors from other stuff, and it should be
with
fine.
the links I already have in place, what do I do? Do I remove the posts or just put a new follow on all of them apart from one?
Well, one thing you could do is disavow from that domain that is posting all of the links, and that would handle it because it would scrub that. You know, I can't prove this because we can't look at the back end, but I do know that when I do disavow, that site rankings come back. So if disavow completely deleted the link and all the stuff associated with it, why would we have sites return to rankings? So the only thing that I think is when you do a disavow that it's switching those links over to nofollow. But the catch to that is Google has to go back to that link and realize that, oh, hey, they disavowed it. So that's why you do the disavow, and then you come back behind it and resubmit, or you do a recrawl of the links that you just disavowed to get them to recognize it before another update rolls around.
All right. So if I have access to the other end, could I disavow from the source instead, or it's better to go through Google Webmaster Tools and do it?
Yeah, you can do it in Webmaster Tools. So I submit my disavow file to the disavow tool, and then the next step I do is I take the list of URLs that I disavowed, not the domain, because you'll probably do it on a domain level when you submit it to Google, but you want to go put the individual URLs back through indexifications after you've done the disavow. And
so
that
they crawl
speeds
again.
up. Yes, because this is why people think that the disavow doesn't work, because back in the day, people would sit there and gat the crap out of their site with GSA or SE Nuke or whatever, and they forced the indexing on those links, right? So Google might not necessarily go back to those. So let's fast forward a few years later, and let's say I have a site that I want to recover. Well, by now, probably the forum link that I posted 2 years ago is down on page 2001 or further. Google's never going to get to it.
there isn't a page 2000. Only
so
one.
Google's never going to go back and crawl it because there's no update to it, right? You posted the content on there once and indexed it, and it got lost in the sea of forum spam that goes on. So to get Google back to it, because they can't recognize it until they crawl it again. So you disavow it, and you force the indexing of that link you disavowed, so Google now can connect A to B and say, oh, they disavowed this, we can't count this against them. And it moves it to no, I believe it moves it to nofollow, because if it completely destroyed the power, there's no way that the site would bounce back to where it was before. So
interesting.
True. Well,
however, I can't prove that. That's my gut hunch.
I think you might be right. All right, so Octavio, I think we covered you pretty well.
You did. You guys did. Thanks a lot.
All
Seriously.
right, cool. You are very, very welcome. All right, so is that the same Octavio who we did the live stuff before?
This is the first time I'm
Okay.
live with you guys.
We helped somebody else, maybe a similar name. Oh, that was Orlando. I'm sorry. They both start with a vowel.
All right.
Okay, great. All right, man.
Orlando's site recovered from
Yeah, it's another feather in the cap for sure. It's working. I've seen too many of these case studies working incredibly well. That's why I get excited when I watch people just make bank on this stuff. Thanks, Jimmy. That's really, really awesome. I'm wondering, let's see, we haven't really been talking for 2.5 hours, have we? Okay. Jimmy, how's your energy level? Do you want to keep going or for another 20 minutes, or should we wrap up? What do you?
No, I'm good if people have questions.
They do. We have a lot more left. Shall we just, okay, so you got your screen up still. Let's go and snap back to Paul. on the spreadsheet. Question is the earlier domain authority stacking example shown in the director's cut material as an example of a cluster or something else? I think he's asking us to define our terms.
Yes, so a cluster, the cluster is referred to as the example that you see in there where you're utilizing all the different properties and you're pointing those to your siloed money site. So when we say 3 clusters, it means you're going to build 3 clusters.
Gotcha.
That is one cluster that you look at, and you're going to have to usually build 3 for anything, medium to low competition.
So a cluster is a stack, is what you're saying?
No, it is a. Well, okay, let me just pull up the picture.
Pull up the picture, just so everybody's absolutely clear. You're getting some thank yous from the audience on that one.
Let's see.
Define your terms, sir. Okay, let's see why you're pulling that up. Terry is saying, I'm going to read some questions in your other ear while you're pulling up that thing. If I have a crappy PBN, can I use a no-follow link to my money site, and will it pass the power?
Yeah, you'd be safe to use it, and in many cases, no follow, you can still rank with it, but it takes more of them to do the same as a do follow.
Right.
So, and why not? If you don't have anything else that you're using, I would use it as a no follow, because it's always good. I think it's always good to get a mix of both. You don't want everything to be 100% follow, because it's not natural.
That's not
and
natural.
I don't know if anyone can really define what natural link profile is. It's all...
Google can. Google can.
But I just think it's good to put a mixture. I try to diversify in everything. So whether that's IPs, accounts, properties, anchor text, like anything you can do to not create a footprint in anything that you want to look at. That's what my goal always is in whatever situation it is.
So you're trying to do the impossible, which is create a random number generator.
Yes.
So, as close as possible, we try to be random, and of course that random attempt is not 100% random, but we can get closer than just putting your exact match keyword phrase in there every time, is what you're saying. And the more diverse, the better, really. Okay, let's see here. Did we lose you?
No, I'm here.
Okay. I'm waiting for my headset to die, so I've got a spare over here. So maybe I lost you.
Here's one.
Paul is saying defining terms, old school IT. Yeah, it is. Okay, here we go. Go for it, Jimmy.
So let's see. Let me see if I can do. That's not what I want. I want to see if I can do a shape on this bad boy.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if you can. So this right here, minus this, minus that. Come on. Well, okay. Ignore the blown out ones.
Okay.
Ignore the purple one down here for a minute. Okay. Just pull it off. This right here is a cluster. Okay. So that's one cluster. All those properties that you would do. Now you're going to have to build 3 clusters typically for any local or lower medium competition type stuff. Now sometimes it's different, like a local, like air conditioning in wherever, Montana, some city in Montana might be different than air conditioning in Las Vegas. So even though it's a local term, just know that air conditioning in Las Vegas could be a lot more competitive.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to come up with more clusters. But typically, a rule of thumb is 3. I don't usually have to build more than 3, and typically I get there before I'm done building the 3. So, but when I price out stuff for clients, I got to take into account content, price, and if I'm going to have people help me with it, I want to work in their hourly rate or whatever it is. So, it's all things I take in consideration whenever I'm looking at a client site. So, but this would be a cluster. Now, when we go and we start talking about kind of tiering one of these specific properties, we call that a stack. So this would be a, if we're just taking our social stuff and applying it to the Weebly, that would be like, that's what we consider a stack. So hopefully that makes a little more sense as far as the terms go. I don't
It
know
does.
if people have other questions.
You guys, give me a 1 if you understood the stack and the cluster. 1 if you understood what he was talking about and the terms, or 2 if you're still confused, because we will Skip. Really? Are you being serious, Skip? Or huh? Most people get it, but there's still about 20%.
Okay, so these properties that we build, let me see if I can just explain this differently. So we're building a Weebly. This Weebly has 1 and 2 pages. Then we're going to use a different property. This might be a gather or a Tumblr, or any kind of high DA that's 75 plus is what I usually will use. I don't down on the end. Sometimes I don't mind going all the way down to in the 50s, but typically I want these as high as possible because that's going to maximize the trust flow that I get from them. So you're picking out different high DA properties, and that's why we don't say like use this one, use this one, use this. We don't want everybody building the same cluster because that creates a footprint.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we call these concept maps.
Right, exactly.
So the goal is to build these. You're building all of these different properties, and all of them together are considered your cluster. Okay, so now if I were to go in and boost this Weebly, or boost this Weebly page, or boost, the Tumblr page or whatever, then that's going to be considered, that's what we call a stack, but you could consider it tiering. But I don't like tiering because people think of tiering as, they link to
Yeah.
they link to it, and then they link to it, and then they mass spam the crap out of it. That's not the goal of
Yeah.
DAS.
We're not
DAS
target practicing.
is not about trust manipulation. It's not about spam manipulation.
Right. And that's a very different concept for people. And that word tier is one of those overlapping concepts that did create confusion because people have grown up in the old ways to think that tiers, old school tiers, right?
Yeah. And that's why I want to kind of get away from that term specifically for this, because I don't want people to think that, we'll just build tiers and spam the crap out of it. Like, you're going to destroy the trust that you just spent all that time building.
Yes.
Like, if you want power and crap like that, then go get some PBNs or something like that. So if it's already got it built into it, right? So.
Yeah. Jimmy's like power and crap like that. I want trust.
Well, I shouldn't. Yeah. Well,
with power.
We showed what Google's looking at. I mean, there's been studies done on it and everything. So, stick to the trust. You want a trusted thing. As we move into semantic web, they're not going to be playing off of power.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Hey, on that note, hey Jimmy, on that note, Don asked, so you boost properties within a cluster. So you boost properties within a cluster so that it is creating a DAS stack. Is that correct? He's just asking to see if he gets it. What you're saying?
Yes, that is correct, Don. Okay. That's 100% correct. So,
okay, good.
And why, we recommend social, but you could certainly put other 2.0s to this. Anything that's got high DA, right? But we're not doing it to like blast the crap out of it. We want to be conservative. We want to maintain that trust that we're using the properties for in the first place. If you go outside of that, then you're just basically, you're going back to older methods that aren't as effective.
Yes.
So, and then the green ones, I saw a question on this one. These ones up here, these are your silo. This would be a silo.
Right.
So, in this particular instance, this was meant for fitness. So the blue one is my top level category. And then my supporting pages would be these other green ones over here. So we got exercise workout, which relates to fitness. We have exercise training, which relates to fitness. And we have workout plan, which relates to fitness. Mm-hmm. And so when we start doing these types of backlinks, so as you could tell, in the training we talk about using the last keyword tool, and we show you how to go and get, those highly relevant, high co-occurrence LSI terms that are going in here, right? So likewise, when I start going to the backlinks, if I know this page is going to exercise training, then I'm going to pick an LSI term that is a high co-occurrence for this specific term, because this one's going to be different this co-occurrence is going to be different than this co-occurrence. It's not the same across the board. So that's something that's very important to remember. And that's why we go over that in the training.
Excellent, excellent. How do you do more than one DAS stack at a time? Jason is asking.
Well, I mean, if you're doing a 2.0 to here or social signals to here, like that would just be for this page, and then do the same for, like, you're going to use different ones, right? But you're just going to apply it to this page. You can apply it to this page. Then you can just do it over here. Like, it's really just, you know, part of, even though they're DA, it's going to boost the PA also of the site as those links get picked up over time. So that's you know, you can boost all of these once you're done building out the stack. And sometimes I'll do it as I go. Like if I build this, sometimes I go and start sending social signals to it, you know, a day after I build it. Like, it's not really a set thing. I just try to do it within, you know, a couple of weeks of whenever I built that page.
Gotcha. Zenith is saying the penny just dropped for her and something just clicked for the first time for her.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so that's really, really good. Can you just define boost for people? It's something that we say a lot.
Boosting, you mean?
Yeah, the word boost. You say it a lot when you're talking about stacks.
Yeah, so boost is the same as the stack.
Okay.
So, because I don't consider it like, it's not all out freaking power dumping into it. It's just, you know, you're just boosting it. You're not slamming the crap out of it with a ton of links.
Yeah, like a boost is kind of a verb. I'm just talking conceptually here. A boost is kind of a verb, and a stack is like the noun, right? But you can also verb. You can also stack something. I'm just trying to make sure that the terms are clear. You can boost and stack.
You boost the stack, and you can boost the cluster.
But do you essentially mean the same thing when you say that, stack and boost?
Yeah, because even though, so, like this is what I'm talking about. So I think in our version, a boost, so you can then go back and, so just as this is a stack, because we had to define each different piece of this, right? So all of it is a cluster. When I'm putting more links to this one, this is a stack. When you do a boost, you're boosting what you did. So it is tiering in a way, but we're using high DA and far less links to do it.
Yeah. So you want to stay as close as you can to with the highest trust intact.
Yes, because that's the whole purpose of why we're doing the cluster in the first place, is we want to increase the trust flow to our site.
Exactly.
Which goes back to Majestic.
Okay, cool. So you guys have got a lot of exposure today. I mean, Jimmy's kind of on. I mean, his teaching's always good, but it's been extra good tonight. So we have a lot of people's penny dropping. Again, Zenith, Trevor looks like he got some things. Trevor's saying, so 3 clusters need 3 websites? That was one question. So 3 clusters need 3 websites. I'm not sure if he quite got that.
Where is it? I'm looking for that.
Yeah, no, that's just it. So 3 clusters need 3 websites.
No,
no.
Your cluster, so, no, this is your money site up here, this top, all these rectangles up here. This is a silo on your money site. So this one, maybe I should color that differently. I know, like, poor guys, every time they get on, I'm like, I'm just trying to find, you know, that style. I have tons and tons of different DAS stuff.
He collects these diagrams, you guys. It's a phantasmagoria of concept maps. Oh, here's Josh says, this is awesome, priceless information, Jimmy. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate that.
So let's see. So yeah, so this is your silo thing on here. So when I create my next cluster, they're still going to go the same pages, but let's say, you know, this page specifically is about best fitness tips going to the workout plan page. So, you know, I still have 2 other high co-occurrence keywords, and that's what those pages on those other 2 clusters are going to do when they point to this part of the site.
Right.
Right. So now we have 3 different. So we're surrounding the camp with the highest co-occurrence that Google sees as the most important on the web live.
Right.
That's why we use the TLKT. So we're hitting them on all fronts. We're hitting them with diversity of anchors. We're hitting them with the highest co-occurrence.
Contextual on
And
page.
we're creating these plurality of groups that are all talking about the same thing while intermingling all the highest co-occurrence together.
With lots and lots
I
of
don't know
truth
if that
happening.
gets too.
No, it does.
I don't
It
know if
does.
I'm like sounding like a geek or something, but
Well,
that's
you know,
basically what it is.
Can I try?
Yes.
So in the diagram there, you've got circles and you've got rectangles. And the rectangles represent pages on a site. And the circles represent one entire cluster. So that cluster would be duplicated again 2 more times if you were going to have 3 stacks. And not exactly, you can have different properties, they're going to be different accounts, but that idea of a cluster is duplicated 2 more times, and those links are again pointed to these pages on this site. Does that help, Trevor?
This is what we're going to do. I'm going to run something right now. Let me log into my TLKT. We'll do another live thing right here.
It did actually make the penny drop, just so you know.
What's that?
It did make the penny drop.
Oh, okay, good.
You got that.
So, yeah, and you know, just to be clear, you know, this is going to be a different. Whoops.
The other thing I would say is that the idea of boost is the idea of enhancing or making better. Right? So when he's boosting something, he's using something to boost something. So he's using something to enhance the domain authority or the page authority of a particular page. And you can boost anything from anywhere, right? So you can use Social Explosion to boost one of your one single page in your DAS stack. You can use your DAS stack to boost your website.
Yeah, Skip, we haven't done a lot of training in Director's Cut OMG on using TLKT for LSI.
I'm going to log into it real quick and just run a drill so we can just show them what the other 2 keywords would be for a workout plan.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can get to that one.
Stephen asked a great question. Are clusters built manually or is there a tool? You know, Jimmy has been bugging me to build a tool ever since he met me. But it's quite intricate and would have a lot of moving pieces, so at the moment they're manual.
Yeah, everything I do at Tier 1 is always, you know, if you're going directly to my site, it's always better just to do it manually because you know that the quality is there in case anything bad happens, you know. So, let's see, hopefully I can do, yeah, okay. I don't remember what my second log, let me see if I have a different login here. Why can't I ever remember my other login?
What are you needing, Jimmy? You need access to something?
I want to pull up TLKT.
Okay.
But I'm maxed out on projects, so I can't run a new drill.
You could always do something.
Where can I give you a password? Because I've got.
Okay, let me just delete something.
We really ought to give you more credit.
I need unlimited.
I would think, yeah.
I don't have unlimited. Don't give me that.
Russ and Sue get mad at me because I bring down their servers when
I
run multiple Kraken drills.
Exactly why you don't have unlimited anything.
It's all good.
So, okay, so let me explain this because this is very important for part of building the DAS stack, right? I mean, I can't stress this part enough. This is what's going to move your site or not move it. And it goes, it's just a very key part without going into all the geeky stuff. So we've already used TLKT to define our most important money pages and the highest co-occurrence that go with fitness because fitness is the top level of our silo on the money site. That's what our client or what we want to rank for. So now these ones are the most important for fitness, right? But if we take it back again as far as backlinks, I want to basically do the same thing that we figured out here, but we're going to apply it to our links. Because why not surround the camp of a page we're trying to rank with its own co-occurrence? So, and it's a two-part process. So I really want you guys to understand like why I do this, because it can make a huge difference in the way that you do your SEO. So I'm going to pull over. So we got workout plan. This is the page we're linking to currently. We've already linked to it with best fitness tips, but let's see if that happened to be the one that we were looking at. So we come in TOKT, and I'm just going to do workout plan, and I'm trying to rank in the United States, and we're just going to queue it. And we're just going to wait just a minute, and this thing will go out and find the info that we're looking for. So it says it's running, so just give it just a minute here. It'll finish up. Talk about the weather for a minute.
It's wet and it's humid. It's hot and it's wet and it's humid.
Yeah, we did get a lot of rain here over the past few weeks. So, and I just want to do this because I just think it's important to kind of, I want you guys to see how this is beneficial on multiple fronts. So I know we've gone kind of late, but I really want you guys to get this.
Cool.
Because I like when people come and hang out with us on webinars. This will literally, if you do this method of link building, this will help move your site almost 100% of the time. Whereas I've seen people say, well, I built a link and it didn't move. It's like if you do it in this manner, you're going to get a little bit of needle bump every time. It's very important. It's that important. Somebody do a song and dance while we wait for this thing to finish.
Oh, I'm not on camera?
We can play some Welcome to the Jungle stuff.
I have to replace Groove Shark first.
I could play, well, I think the kids are in bed now.
Oh, that's the best time to play it. Okay. Let's see what we got. Pip also said something up here that I thought was kind. Pip said, you said something about the penny dropping, but so many things have scrolled down the screen that I can't find it. That's all right. Penny dropped for him as well. Sue's got this entire other conversation happening in the chat room. While all this is going on.
Burning servers and not giving me unlimited credit to count. And
she's talking to her girlfriend.
It's true. It happened that one day. They're like,
oh, that's true.
We were doing that one client. I was running, I don't know how many it is, like 10 or 15 different Kraken drills, and we started seeing the Skype chat go on, and people are like, I can't log into Kraken. Kraken keeps saying, that it was down and stuff.
That was Jimmy.
Sue calls me up.
All the resources.
What are you doing right now?
Hogging all the resources.
Running some keyword research.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, could you step away from the computer?
And so since that time, I am limited on the amount of drills that I can do at any one point in time.
Indeed.
Don't let this happen to you. Come on. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's ready. All right, so workout plan. All right, so we got our workout plan here. So this is the page that we're going to send the backlinks to. So why not get money, don't think of the keyword that you pick as that's the only keyword. I mean, if you're going to build a backlink, why not maximize its usefulness? So we're just going to apply the filter, and I just like to use my good old Jimmy supporting keywords and apply the filter. You can use other ones. You can use highly relevant if you don't get enough out of this one or whatever. But now what I'm looking at is, now we gotta, let me zoom in so people looking at the screen can see a little better. So we got cost per click here. So this is what people are paying on their AdWords. We got the clicks per day on the AdWords. We have the amount of searches per day, and we got our co-occurrence. Now, for me, from a link building perspective, so on a money site, I like the LSI, but you also want to mix it in with where's the money at. So because we're utilizing these pages to also be a backlink, I try to do a mix, and sometimes it just depends on how I've built the cluster. So when we look at that, you can see that it organizes your LSI. So the LSI on the base gives you co-occurrence of everything that's going on. So that gives us most important to least important as far as Google's concerned. And then we also have the different keywords associated with the page that we are working on ranking in the money site. So when we start working on this, we got weight training workout. So that's the most important workout plan. So now I'm going to go back over to my DAS cluster real quick. So did I do weight lift? What was that called? See, my memory's so bad. So weight training workout. So I would go over to this cluster. Go over to the cluster. And we're going to see, did I use weight training plan in any of these? And I would say no, not in this cluster. And you want to think about this because when you start building your clusters, you're not using the same LSIs, right? These are going to shift on each cluster. So we use best fitness tips already in the first cluster, but so the other anchor I can use next is going to be this top one here. Oops, where'd it go? Weight training workout, which is very, very relevant and has cost per, there's money involved with that, which means it's a high converter. So I'm going to put that right there. That's what this keyword is, what I'm going to write about on that second cluster. So in this case, I said, okay, this one will be a Tumblr in this portion of the cluster, and this is cluster 2. My different LSI / co-occurrence is going to be the heck, I can't remember this word. Weight training workout. It's because I don't work out. I did once upon a time. Weight training workout. So you're going to go and create this page all about weight training workout, and you're going to link to this using something similar to that, right? So you're going to use, you can use just weight training workout directly to there for a link because that's different than your best fitness tips. So it's not like you're doing a long tail. That's completely different than what we did before. Like best fitness tips is not a long tail of workout plan. So, but it doesn't mean that that's not relevant to use as an anchor. So now that we've figured that out, let's go figure out cluster 3. So this is how you decide like what content you're using and where you're going to put it. So now we go over to you see workout, looking for workout plan. And so what I like to do is I still like to try and stick to what you're using it for. So we have workout plan. This one's not bad. So I have workouts in this keyword and I have workouts in this one. And I don't see plan in any of these, so I'm going to stick to one of these that contains still kind of a partial match of my keyword. So this is the next highest co-occurrence, so it's probably the best bet. The money isn't bad on it. It does have a little bit of search volume, but not a ton. But remember, we're utilizing these to get more push out of our links. So Best weight loss workouts is what I would pick for the next one. So that's going to be my keyword that I use. It's going to be my keyword anchor, but it's also going to be what that page is completely written about. Best weight loss workouts. So you can see we just built, and we just picked WordPress.com as like the property for that. Well, it doesn't matter. Any high DA over 75, just use it. But you can see now we got 3 different things. We diversified on property, so we got a Weebly going to it, we got a Tumblr going to it, we have a WordPress going to it. We've diversified anchors because we got best fitness tips, weight training workout, best weight loss workouts, and those are all, these are all very highly relevant co-occurrence keywords. I mean, they're the most important words to Google that should be for workout plan. So now what my next step is I want to make sure that I put these other co-occurrence keywords into the content of this money site page, because that also gives us the opportunity to rank for those as well. Since we're building properties of those to use for backlinks, it's also going to help us rank for those terms just by putting that right on the page. So I would go and put best weight loss workouts directly into the content at least once into this page. And so now, not only could this page potentially rank for workout plan, but has potential to rank quite nicely for some of these other ones that we're already using for backlinks. So hopefully you guys get that, but that's kind of the process that you do when you build cluster 1, cluster 2, and cluster 3. Like, you're just repeating it, right? So on this one, it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to put this into TLKT. In my next cluster 2 and 3, I'm going to go and find my best co-occurrence terms for it. And these types of things will really start pushing your site.
So, Jimmy, I want to back you up for a second. What filter was it that you used in TLKT?
I used I used this one. So, okay, so there's another catch to it, right? Workout plan. So some people might know that you like to do blanketing and things like that. So what did we just build? We just built high DA properties that could also potentially rank for weight loss training. So now we have potential 2 spots on Google to go for that are all highly relevant, pointing back to the money site.
We have several people who just additionally said that the penny has dropped. George said, "This is gold, Jimmy. Penny just dropped. Outstanding on training of domain authority stacking." Kevin just said. Mamado said, Mamada, sorry, getting that one down, said that you are the best. Good job. Skip was like, he's in all caps. Don't be doing all caps, dude. No, he says, same here, holy bleep. I can't really say everything. That was good. It's interesting how many pennies are dropping all of a sudden. You're kind of on tonight, man. Dave,
it's good. It's always good to review the stuff that we teach.
Yeah, it is. You have to. Bill Cox says this is gold. Eric says this is awesome. Christina's saying, wow, pennies. Christina saying, not just pennies, this is a whole roll of them. Yeah, Pip has just made an additional comment. He got excited before. Wow, this is great, guys. Your response is very helpful because the entire team tries to remember when something really clicks. We try to remember those light bulb moments and repeat them, so we appreciate the feedback.
And, this is very important for you guys to do because, yes, we do have to build the properties manually for the tier 1. That's a bummer.
Yep.
But think what we're getting out of it. We're crafting everything we need for co-occurrence. We're crafting everything we need to set it up for ranking. We're surrounding the camp with, all the groups that we're doing. We're getting keywords that actually have money and are important. I mean, it all is kind of like it's a cohesive system when you build it. So, and I don't know if I necessarily did that very well when we were talking about in the DC course. I'm not necessarily sure I brought all those pieces into I know we did, but I don't know if I explained it well enough for people to follow. So
that's why we keep going over it, and we keep enhancing your guys' skills. This is So powerful and so worth the investment. I mean, if you guys think about, how much time and money you put into your PBNs, ultimately, as well, you have maintenance, you have sustainability issues, they're not bad to have, but think about the time you're putting into something that's sustainable as well. And the better you get at, this is a really worthwhile investment, really, because all you have to do right now is that top tier, and then, I mean, start your stacks, then you've got an investment that's going to be sustainable. Kevin is saying, okay. I have been asking this exact question that Jimmy is giving such a great explanation. I never got such a great answer until now. I completely understand this concept now.
There is a method behind the madness.
Madness! It's to
And
get
when you
madder.
hear people say, "Oh, it's just tearing," you can just laugh silently in the background.
That is the thing. It is. Oh, that's just tearing. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Thank you very much. Go launch your course and teach tearing, and we'll do this. And you might want to end up coming to our traffic hospital course if you're done tearing.
You'll come to the traffic hospital when they're done.
Yeah. All right. Not to laugh at it. I mean, we don't really want anybody ever to have any pain or suffering. It's just it's not easy to teach complex. As Jimmy and I were looking at this, coming up with the concept maps and the distinction between a process map, we were aware that everybody wanted an exact imitation plan so that everybody could just dilute this process. And the interesting thing about this is a principle. Once you integrate your understanding of this principle, you can always use it. You can throw any kind of trust or platform in there, and you can do your own. In fact, we had a conversation once in the domain authority stacking chat room, Skype room, that people were actually starting to open their kimono and talk about how they all have invented things that are working for them that aren't even discussed. They have their own platforms. I mean, it's essentially the same thing when you look at it. It's still the same process. It's just, they found some platforms that they're experimenting with. So I think that's really, really cool.
Exactly why we don't want to, that's why we don't want everybody building the same. I mean, it's all the same principles. It's like when you have the principles in place, you can get better and better as you go. You'll find properties out there that are like nobody's using them.
Or even knows.
Or even knows that they're out there, and those are like little gems that you keep.
Keep those. Keep those. And the interesting thing is that there's more and more platforms coming every day. It's really not something that I see going away anytime soon, and if at all, or just changing its form. So I'm pretty excited about it because we really are. You understand that? I know that it would be nice if we could rubber stamp something like this, but anything that can be rubber stamped. That's what's so interesting about the complexity of where things are going as we move towards the semantic web and even towards the quantum web. What I like about it is that it's becoming more and more about the conversation and the thoughts and the ideas and the questions that surround a single idea. And we've had a couple of you here in this last few minutes asking about the word Bayes algorithm and the word LSI.
Yeah, maybe does Sue want to explain? So like I've seen a few questions pass by, Russ, that people are asking. They want to know what is the red bump in the graph,
right?
Maybe what these terms are down here, and then they're kind of curious about what is LSI versus Bayes.
Yeah, for those of you who are super hardcore geeks, like I noticed a couple of you that I know who asked those questions. One of you is an extreme geek. I'm going to go ahead and put the definitions of Bayes and LSI in the chat window for everybody. I'm cautious because Jimmy, because you had such an incredibly good explanation, I don't think I really want to end the webinar on Brainiac, like fast cog. I don't. It was so good that I don't want to end on anything that I might do diluted. I'd like people's brains to be able to, just end with that clarity, if that's okay with you guys. But what I will do is I'll put the geek terms for LSI and we have a great entry here. If you're seriously interested in understanding the hard coding that Sue and Kelly did with Bayes' algorithm and LSI, the only thing that you need to know is that LSI, the higher numbers means that there's a higher LSI score related to your term workout plan, and the lower score means that it's less related. Does that make sense? Pretty straightforward, right?
The yin and yang.
Yeah, and so I'm going to go ahead. For those of you who really care about Bayes, Bayesian is a really interesting math concept, but I don't want to end there tonight. I just want to everybody be at peace. Let's see.
For those that want to geek out.
Once you get Jimmy started. But, I was reading something in that book, Thinking Fast and Slow, that was saying when you have a major breakthrough, like this one felt pretty big because I have over 15 people just going, holy crap. That, give the brain a rest. Like, just let it sit there for a second. Now, Sue, on the other hand, will say that's when the bigger whips come out. So I don't really know. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put here's one of the definitions of latent semantic indexing in the chat for those of you who care to look at it. And I'm going to, let's see, LSI driven. Oh, that's an old document. Yeah, we were talking about LSI right when it got popular, pretty much the first ones out there. And then there's also another one called the Larry score. That's part of TLK2, but we'll just, again, be something for you guys to sit on. Just go ahead and put them in your bookmark. And of course, Bayesian is explained as well, should you want to just go a little bit deeper into what these terms mean. Bayesian is something you definitely have to study when you get into, oh, here it is. Go ahead.
The interesting thing is I see a lot of people are like, well, I used a long tail or whatever it is. It's like they could have used a long tail term for that specific, because what do? We go out and build links to a page. And diversity is key, but why not use the most important diversity? Why just settle for, this is kind of related.
Yep.
Just why not maximize everything since you're taking the time to do it anyway?
Yeah. So this has been really, really great, guys. And if you study Bayes, regression to the means is one of the things that I'm studying right now. I'm kind of behind on all the higher math that all the developers like Sue and Jimmy are already like super geniuses at. So it's something that I'm fascinated about right now. But the bottom line is that just keep it right there, that you guys have just had a unique insight tonight, just at what I consider to be a breakthrough, light bulb, penny dropping moment. So let's just keep it there. Heidi, go away. Heidi's like, Russell, really?
Heidi's gonna whip you.
well, I actually think it's time to end the call. We've been on for 3 hours, and I have other things I need to do. So that's that. I could leave you guys on if you want to.
No, it's good.
Yeah, I think we have a really nice end moment. Jimmy, this is really, really fantastic. Now, this replay will be available as soon as David gets it up. Usually takes about a day or two, and then it'll go in there. Let's see. We have all kinds of things coming up. I know that there are other webinars inside the community. I know Mike Clay, and there's a very special guest. I'm just going to break the news to you guys. I know that Sue and Jimmy will both be on this upcoming webinar tomorrow. I think they call it assimilation or something like that. No, just kidding. Rankizon. I spent 2 hours working with the developers on Rankizon today, Tim. That's kind of the fun stuff. I'm blown away. I've been asked by Sue at threat of whip to not talk about it until she's ready to talk about it. So I'm stepping way back from that one.
I have a favor to ask of people.
Yes. What do you need, Jimmy?
Would be so kind.
Sure.
So I don't know if you guys I'm not into the hashtag thing. I'm not going to ask you guys to do that. But, I wouldn't mind if you got a lot out of this. If you have time, just go on the Facebook group and say, "Hey, really meant a lot. I'm glad that I attended." Give us something positive on there, so people can see that we're doing a good job and stuff. Yeah,
give us a bit of an ego boost in there. Let's see. We don't ask for that very much. Let me get the link. You guys know how to get in the OMG area. Just go to our just go to that image where we have you guys sign up. And just give some feedback. What that does, that helps.
And I'm talking in the Facebook group specifically.
Yeah, we're talking in the OMG Facebook, right, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Okay. And get in there. And what that does is that draws attention to that post so that other folks get on this webinar. We haven't really gone out. I haven't really gone out there and really, really kicked the promotion of this highly as I should. So it does help us get a little bit. Because we have, we're kind of underspoken about this stuff. It's that powerful. We're not going to stand on a hilltop and be screaming at a megaphone this stuff. I mean, it's good, but we don't need to be. So give us a little bit of a boost. Give Jimmy some hashtag and just hashtag
Well, not hashtag. No hashtags.
No hashtags.
Just give a little bit of positive thought of being here tonight.
Yeah, and actually, what would also be helpful, you guys, is just name specifically what you learned instead of the hashtag stuff. Like just type in "Wow, loved the other penny dropped on domain authority stacking," right? If you guys could do that, that would be really helpful. That way we can use it for actual data, so that next time we know, really what you got out of it. Because I really have not seen this many people all at once get domain authority stacking at the same time. It's damn, it's really powerful. George is like hashtag penny drop. All right. Okay, George, we get it. But that would be really, really great. Okay. So those of you who are advanced network empire, oh, by the way, let me do my closing arguments here. We do have a Skype group, which is the Director's Cut and Project Breakthrough Network Empire Hybrid. I do that as kind of a bridge and a communication point, so that helps me and the rest of the team know where you came from and so who we're talking to. We have a super wide diversification process of different people in all different walks of life inside the Network Empire family. So we have that group because it just helps us know, what the context is of the question and what level of conversation we've had and just where we know you from. Oh, okay, I see all the people coming in from the Facebook group. Thank you so much. Wow, it's great. So that would be.
And I would say also kind of like what I do in, with some of the other courses is if you have a specific question that you really need an answer from, I mean, for me, I won't speak for Sue and Russ, but if you just do like at Jimmy in the Skype group, then I will know that you're directing that question specifically for me.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people in the community, they'll just help each other and answer back and forth. And so I let that roll typically, but if you do an at Jimmy in the Skype group, I'll know that you need my attention.
Absolutely. Yeah. Really appreciate it. And I try to pass things to him when I can. Now, keep in mind that we're not always on Skype all the time, 24 hours, and Jimmy's definitely not. Jimmy and Sue work on really, if I told you some of the big projects that they're doing, it's almost not believable, so these are, obviously, they can't be on 24 hours a day, but sometimes during the breaks and stuff, or, we definitely want to help anybody who's reaching out for it. So I try to take care of the first tier stuff, but there's a lot of stuff that you guys do when you're talking about domain authority stacking or this complex stuff that I got to pass on to the tech team, so. People
are asking which Facebook group to do, and if you could do it in the OMG NHB one, that would be great.
Yeah, again, if you're not in there, just contact me on Skype, and my handler is ThemeZoom, and I can drag you in there. I believe everybody else on the team has access to put you in that Skype group as well, but that's the probably the room that you should ask that. And also our basic Network Empires members area, either room 1 or 2, I try to put you in as well as you can. But if you're in the Director's Cut OMG group, the Project B room, it's pretty helpful because you guys are a little bit of a different angle or a spin. So I want to make sure that we know it's better when you guys talk in there because the questions and the private things we discuss on these webinars are a little bit different than what we didn't normally discuss. So just put that in. Thanks, Octavio. Appreciate that. Andy, thank you so much. Sandy, I'm sorry. The Skype address is ThemeZoom. I'm going to go ahead and put my Skype address in there. And if you guys want me to put you in the Director's Cut Project B Skype room, I will. We're running out of people in there. Spaces in there, but we have room for, I think, about 60 more, 70 more people. So.
Plus, we got guys asking for that Facebook link, too.
The Facebook link?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean they don't know where the OMG Facebook room is? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put the Facebook link in there as well. Group comments. Wow, you guys really hammered it. Jimmy, that was a great idea.
Yeah, I just thought, we don't usually
we should
ask them to do any of that kind of stuff, but I just wanted to do it as a favor, so I appreciate everyone that did that.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put that Facebook group in there. Now, you should already be a member of that group. Now, if you're not, you're going to have to hit up Mike Long, or I'm not sure how they get access to that. Okay, I see several of you. I'm also going to type in my Skype name, so it's ThemeZoom, one word. And some of you are already hitting me up to add you to the Director's Cut room. So I will do that all tonight before I go home, or change offices rather. George is saying we should add on to Tim Edwards' comments so they're all grouped. I love it. We're gaming EdgeRank and Facebook. Okay, let me see here. All right, I'm adding you guys. All right, good. So we'll wrap it up tonight, and we're going to have, if you're on the assimilation project tomorrow, you get to hear Mike Clay and Sue, and don't tell anybody that Sue's going to be there, but that's the guest speaker, I'm pretty sure, or else it might be Bob Proctor. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I can't figure it. There's too many webinars. They're all blurring together. And
the Bob one is on Friday.
oh, that's Friday. Yes.
Tomorrow is with Mike Clay. So.
Yeah, that's Mike Clay, and you and all of us will be on there, actually, and we're already signed up. Wow. Let me see what's going on here. Yeah, I think that's good. So if I don't grab you guys for the Skype group right away, I got to take a break and get some oxygen here and maybe even a little bit of food. Jimmy Kelly, thank you so much. And Sue, I'm so glad that you're starting to recover from the trip. It's been an amazing 3 or 4 weeks around here, actually longer than that, as Sue is prepared for the transition of the ThemeZoom, Skunkworks, and Think Tank down to Austin. It's going to get just really crazy from here. And I know you guys are very, very excited and along for the ride. And we'll keep you informed about everything that's going on. And we hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. It's been Russell Wright, Jimmy Kelly, and Sue Bell from Network Empire, Project Breakthrough, and Director's Cut. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you on the inside of Network Empire.